So we're here for sentencing on a charge of child abuse in the third degree. It's punishable by an maximum of 2 years. The guideline range of 5 to 23 months. First off, Mr. Madaloni, do you have any additions or corrections to the report or challenges to the scoring of the guidelines?
I do not.
Ms. Goodrich, do you?
No.
Okay, so we are also here, it looks like there's 2 show causes. One that was signed on April 8th that alleges, Mr. Wolf, that you are in contempt of court for violating the conditions of your bond by missing tests and calls from March 8th through April 8th, except for the date of March 11th. And then there's another show cause dated May 3rd, alleging that you are in contempt of court for violating your bond by continuing to not call or text. You have a right to have a hearing where that would need to be established beyond a reasonable doubt, a right to the assistance of your attorney at that hearing. If you are found to be in contempt, you could be jailed up to 93 days and or fined up to $7,500. Understanding the rights that you have and the penalties that you face, Mr. Madaloni, do you know how Mr. Wolf wishes to proceed on the contempt?
I think he has an explanation. I'm guilty with an explanation, I think.
Okay. Mr. Wolf, if you want to stand and raise your hand for me. Tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth shall be God.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you can be seated. And are you Matthew Allen Wolf Jr.?
Yes, sir.
Okay, has anybody promised you anything in exchange for admission of contempt?
No, Your Honor.
Anybody threatened you?
No, Your
So your own free choice.
Yes, Your Honor.
How do you wish to plead to contempt of court, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty, Your Honor.
All right, and your conditions of bond were to call every day and test when you do so, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and did you miss several calls and tests?
I called the line every day. I did miss a test though, as I called the court and told that I just couldn't afford it, Your Honor. There was like 4 times a week. I did test once a week though. I don't know why it doesn't show that on there. I tested 3 times or once a week at New Beginnings in Traverse City, and then the last test I took right here in Sheboygan at Harbor Hall, which was last week. Yesterday, I missed my test yesterday too because I could not afford it. I'm a full-time father of 2 with no help, and I could barely keep up with my bills. I simply couldn't afford it. I'm sorry.
Okay, Mr. Madaloni, you satisfied with that factual basis?
I am.
Ms. Goodrich?
Yes.
All right, well, Mr. Wolf, I find that your plea of contempt is knowingly, voluntarily, and understandingly made, and that there is a sufficient basis in fact and law to believe that you are in contempt. So I will so make that finding and accept that plea. You want me to bring in Mr. Brown and excuse him?
Yes, thank you.
Let's do that real quick. All right, Mr. Brown, your testimony is not needed in this matter. We did just address it on the record, so you're excused from the subpoena the prosecutor contacted you about.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so Mr. Madaloni, anything you want to say in your client's behalf for sentencing?
Overall on everything.
Well, I guess overall and the contempt, yes.
I really don't know what to say to the contempt. It's been something that's been going on throughout this case. He's had difficulty reaching them. He's had difficulty getting to the tests, and I know he has a financial difficulty. I can speak to that personally, but I don't think he's colored outside the lines other than that. And I don't think he's been using. I really think that he's in a situation where he is on his own. He did manage to find someone to watch his kids out in the parking lot for him today, but as I advised according to the prosecutor earlier, he didn't have anyone to watch his kids, and he was going to have to bring them with him. So I'm going to leave it to the court's discretion. I don't think that he's a threat to the community. I would ask the court maybe decrease the frequency of testing and make it more financially compliable for my client. As far as the agreement we have goes, I'm going to ask the court to follow that. I don't think that he's done anything to, again, ruin that deal. He hasn't violated the bond in contacting the victim or anything of that nature. So I'm going to ask the court to follow our agreement there. And again, the court's been very gracious in the past when it comes to these violations. I know that. It just seems like there should be some sort of solution where he could test right here in town and less often, just from the financial aspect of it.
All right, thank you. Mr. Wolf, it's not required that you would make a statement today. It is allowed. Is there anything you want to tell me? No.
No, Your Honor, yes, Your Honor, just go ahead. I just want to say, thank you, by the way, I'm going through a hard time, and I'm trying my best. I did all I could. I took the test as much as I could, and I followed the laws. I'm a good dad. Yeah, I'm trying to be a good man. And I apologize that I couldn't keep up with all that I was required to do. I did call the courts, and I apologize to them too. I don't know if you know that, but I apologize.
Thanks, sir. Ms. Goodrich, any recommendations from people?
Is this both on the underlying
Yes.
case? And, okay, first I would ask the court for permission for Jane Livingston to speak. She is the
Yes.
mother of the minor.
Yes. Good afternoon, Ms. Livingston. Anything you want to tell me before I impose sentence? Go ahead.
I have an impact statement based on, how my life has been since this case has been going on. Matthew Wolf has made an impact in my son's and I's life in a lot of different ways that affects our everyday life. My son, he is impacted by Matthew in multiple different ways. His personality has changed. He's quick to get upset and frustrated when something doesn't go his way. He gets aggressive, and he's never been that way until after the day of November 23rd, 2022. He's afraid of everyone, whether or not you're a male or female, because of what Matthew has done to him. He cowers and hides behind me, even if someone's just trying to say hi to him. My son gets scared every time I drive towards Sheboygan because he thinks he's going to be seeing Matthew Wolf somehow, and I'm always having to calm him down to reiterate the fact that he's not going to be seeing him again. He even flinches at the slightest movements towards him as if he feels someone's out to get him because of what Matthew Wolf did. All of the impacts that Matthew Wolf has made on my son has also impacted my everyday life of trying to help my son do this every day. Life as he tries to understand and question what has happened to him and why. Every day I question why and how could anyone ever put their hands on someone as innocent as a 2-year-old at the time of the events? How could someone be so spiteful of an innocent little being that's just learning the ways of life and what they can and cannot do? A 2-year-old isn't going to be able to defend themselves from a grown adult. A 2-year-old isn't going to know how to try and find a phone to dial 911. A 2-year-old isn't going to understand why someone's putting their hands on them in an aggressive way and decipher if it's right or wrong. I question every day what would have happened differently had Leon Landry, Bentley's biological father, called the cops that day instead of just bringing my son to me, as I'm completely clueless as to who Matthew Wolf and Diamond Swinehart are. Matthew's impacted me by making me uneasy about even sending my son to a daycare or even school in that matter, knowing and seeing what happened to my son because I have little to no trust in people anymore. This case lasting 1.5 years and me endlessly having to be the only one to advocate for my son and hoping to get the justice he so deserves. To me, this isn't a justice system. My son isn't getting any justice in the matter when Matthew Wolf has been deliberately continuing to violate bonds the whole case, as he has only had to sit one time for a bond violation for only 84 days and had just got given a plea deal of 12 months probation. I personally think it's a whole load of crap that he's getting less than what I've been fighting for this whole case. Sorry, Your Honor. I've been impacted financially as it's been a whole lot, or I've been impacted financially as I've been having to drive back and forth from the police station and all the court dates we've had, and with the fact of not trusting anyone, having only a select few people I do trust. So I'm not able to work as much as I'd like to be able to financially support me and my son. I also feel as though my son and I have been impacted by the Sheboygan Police Department and their failure to get my son and I a police officer on the case who was going to be able to successfully and thoroughly do their part for the case in the beginning, but instead gave us a police officer who was going to be transferring from Sheboygan to a different police station who had seemed to be in a rush and completely get everything mixed up. I then had to advocate to get another police officer on the case as they hadn't originally found another police officer to take the case. 5 months. It took about 5 months to even get a warrant to have Matthew and Diamond arrested to get anything in motion from when I had filed the complaint. I question every day why it is that Sheboygan County was failing my son and I when they're supposed to be the justice system and there to serve for their people. I question every day how it is that Diamond could sit there and tolerate her fiance husband doing something so heinous to someone so innocent. I question how it is that Diamond, by what I was told to be the one who was supposed to be watching my son, could also be let free of any consequences based on her fiance husband's actions and not doing anything about it, not attempting to call 911 or even Leon Landry, Bentley's biological father, the one who had set up babysitting. My son and I are also impacted by Leon Landry and his actions in the case, as he hasn't been a big help in it at all from the beginning, because he didn't do what any father would / should do in a situation like this that Matthew had put my son through and called 911 the night of November 23rd, 2022. My son's impacted by him because since this day this has happened, he has made no efforts into trying to be a part of Bentley's life. He's made no efforts into helping give information regarding Matthew to try and help his son get the justice he deserves. He hasn't even given Bentley an apology for the situation he put him through, and not even attempting to help his situation. With that said, Leon's impacted me because he's given me all the weight in the situation from the beginning and has left me hanging clueless about anything pertaining to the situation. Thank you.
Ms. Goodrich, recommendations from the people?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. The defendant is 39 years old. He has 9 prior felonies and 3 prior misdemeanors. I believe that the court has been more than patient with him on the drug line issues dating back to April 2023. Initially in district court, he was given a fine for a dilute test. And then in July of 2023, he had a positive drug screen. He did serve some jail time. There was another violation September 28th of 2023 for missing drug screens. Then we're actually here on a sentencing from a violation of March 4th of 2024, where he was failing to call the bond line in early March. The court gave him a stern warning that he had to figure this out. He had to comply and that he would not be incarcerated for a second time and given a chance. The prosecutor's office during that time also gave him a chance by doing a delay plea agreement that was against the victim's wishes, as she's explained why. And then here we are today between plea and sentencing with 2 more violations for missed calls, missed tests, without really any new explanation from that. He was warned by the court in March of 2024. I would ask the court to take that into consideration at the sentencing. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Wolf. If you please stand for the court sentence. Mr. Wolf, you stand here today convicted of a felony crime of child abuse for injuring a very young child with bruises on the child's head and back. You have 9 prior felonies, which is a terrible record. And your guideline range is a straddle cell, 5 months on the low end, 23 months on the high end. The plea agreement is for a delay of sentence. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to place you on a delay of sentence for 2 reasons. One, your extensive felony record and your abuse of a young child, and also then your complete failure to comply with my orders on bond. I have no reason to believe that you would comply with probation orders. Over and over again, you seem like you can just come to court and tell us why you're not obeying court orders and that should be okay. I'm not sure why you think that. Maybe that we've been too lenient with you. And I revoked your bond at one time, but then gave you more chances. I thought that maybe revoking the bond and having you sit for 85 days would have mattered. It doesn't seem to have gotten your attention. In any event, your post-plea contemptuous conduct has negated your ability to withdraw the plea for me not following the plea agreement. And I have no confidence that you would succeed on probation. So, honestly, somebody with your record that hurts a child, I'm really thinking about whether to send you to prison. I'm not going to do that today, but you are going to do a year in the county jail forthwith. You get credit for 88 days previously served. $68 state cost, 130 crime victims assessment, $350 court cost, $60 DNA fee. And on the contempt, it's 93 days credit for 0. Those will be concurrent. You can appeal if you wish by filing an application to the Court of Appeals. If you want me to appoint a lawyer, you have to ask me within 42 days. We're going to give you some appeal paperwork to that effect. One for you to initial, one for you to fill out if you want to take an appeal. And that's the sense of the court.
Does he need to sign the appellate rights form?
You give her my.
We'll do it back there. We acknowledge receipt of the appellate rights form.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
And are we going to do Mr.
Yeah, it'll be Mr.
You got your girlfriend.